Afternoon and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike and this is Alex, and we're coming to you from Green Dragon CVR in Woodbridge, the only place you'll find the latest games like Control and Astral Chain to play and purchase, alongside over 100 different kinds of Ontario craft beer like the pair we're drinking right now. Alex got a Zap Sour IPA from Nickelbrook. Exactly what it sounds like. I think we drank that one before. It's a soured IPA. It's got the resiny, hoppy vibes of an IPA overlaid with some lactobacillus sour vibes, and it's delicious.
Yeah, it's nice and sour, but it's not like overwhelmingly sour.
Nice hit from Nickelbrook. And I'm enjoying a strawberry cider from Heritage Estates. Actually, we tried their Golden Dragon and their Eden's Apple before.
Yes.
This is one they came out with recently this summer. It's delicious, heavy strawberry overtones. Kind of tastes like Bench's strawberry sour we also drank earlier in the year. So
yeah,
check out both of those. But we're here today to talk to you not exclusively about beer while we enjoy one.
Big new IPs.
Yeah, some big new IPs dropped in the past couple of weeks. And, we've been busy with some older titles to the point where we haven't gotten to cover them yet. But here we are today with our initial impressions on Astral Chain and Control.
Yep.
A couple of titles by some interesting developers, actually. Astral Chain being from Platinum, one of our
Platinum
favorites.
Games, yeah.
And Remedy, the developers of Control, they worked on Alan Wake. They worked on Quantum Break in the past.
Break, yeah.
And,
I still like to refer to them as the Max Payne developers.
The Max Payne, they made Max Payne, did they?
Was fucking amazing, yeah.
Yeah? Remedy?
Yeah. I mean, a long time ago.
Oh, boy, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
nice,
I think so, yeah.
Fairly decent pedigree. Like, I've never been too crazy about the titles they came up with, but I do like their formula. I do like the worlds they build.
Mm-hmm. They always try and create something new and unique, right? They kind of sort of go after that. They don't rely on their, their past. Like, they haven't made Max Payne like 7 or
That's right, yeah. Always a bunch of new IPs. Hit or miss, perhaps. Like, I'm sure Quantum Break wasn't even a terrible game. I never played it myself.
I've never played it
The
either.
critical reception was underwhelming. I feel, though, after this one, we might be compelled to go back and...
They seem to sort of sit in that, like, almost that, like, double A
mid-70,
space,
high
right?
80,
Yeah, that's sort of like, they're like AAA games, but they're usually not like...
Yeah.
But
they make them according to this formula that's not really popular nowadays, right? They're like 20, 15-hour single-player experiences.
Person, like
very cinematic.
Sort of.
That's right, like Uncharted. Yeah, even playing that's some of the vibes I got there, right? But first, Alex, why don't you tell us a little bit about Astral Chain?
Astral Chain is fucking weird.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit about the world first.
Yeah, so it's...
What has Platinum built for us this time?
Basically starts off as brother and sister tag team duo in the police academy, right?
Your dad's a cop, right?
Your dad's a cop, he's your captain, and they're testing out these legions, which are the sort of companion you play with throughout the game that are attached to you via the chain, right?
Yeah. They look like enemies that they've domesticated, kind of.
Yeah,
right?
it's sort of, that's how the beginning starts off. Yeah. The opening is kind of, you see them sort of summoning these things into power, and it attacks them right away, right? And then they
like bind them.
Yeah, they use that thing on their back, I can't remember the name, to chain them and bind them to you, right? And then enables you to control it. So you have this companion you can send out to battle, and that's basically what they're getting at, is with these things are like our last hope for humanity to sort of fight against the enemies, which are called the chimeras.
They're like interdimensional demons,
interdimensional, monsters that have come through the gates from other universes, right?
So right off the bat, we got this cop drama mixed up with some strange supernatural elements, eh?
Basically, yeah.
Interdimensional entities and...
Yeah, and like I said, your legions are like the last link of hope for humanity to sort of use those in the fight, and...
It looks like their relationship with the legions are kind of tenuous, right? Like they rebelled against.
Very strange. Yes, there was a part early on in the beginning we played where they unchained from your group of
Got to fight him, kind of like Yuna at the end of Final Fantasy X, eh? Fighting all the Aeons there.
It's crazy. Yeah, it was pretty wild for like the first couple hours that we played. It wasn't much, but it's been pretty wild. The controls seem, the gameplay seems pretty tight. And
seems platinum, eh?
Yeah, it's very platinum-ish. It took a little getting used to, because when you hold the L2 button, you can control the legion separately, right? And then obviously you're using the right stick to do that, so you can't use the camera control. So switching back and forth was a little bit, took me like...
It felt like the camera bumped around automatically when you were turning the chain, right?
A little bit, yeah. But you can't make manual adjustments, right? Yeah. So there's certain things like that. But other than that, I mean, it plays well like most Platinum games play. It's pretty snappy.
For sure, yeah. I liked
very Japanese.
Very Japanese,
very anime Japanese style with the cheesy dialogue and all that.
That's right.
It's very epic moments.
Yeah.
Very slow motion, like cutscenes. It's wicked. It's pretty cool.
I almost feel like saying it
far.
had this like vibe of like magical realism. It's like this world not too different from ours, and everybody's just nonchalantly referring to these supernatural elements.
Future,
yeah,
right. It reminded me of that show I was saying, Knights of Sidonia. That anime
true. Yeah,
show, right?
that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very much like that. Did you ever
Strange title.
Did you ever see a show called Fringe?
No.
It has the actor who played Denethor in Lord of the Rings. He's like part of this supernatural detective agency kind of that works for the FBI. Or both Control and this one kind of gave me vibes.
It gave
like
you that vibe,
show.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
It's a very weird title for sure. Like
For
it's it's you know.
it's an original IP from Platinum,
Yeah.
and like, you know, if their other work is anything to judge by, like the world will, you know, it's already impressive at the start, but I'm sure it'll come together in an even more impressive sense. We'll see some crazy
we keep
bosses
going
and
through it.
enemies.
I think
and
gonna have to drop Oninaki then
Yeah,
to
it's
continue
possible.
in this one.
it's possible.
Is it long? Do you know how long?
Oninaki?
No.
I heard
Astral.
it's 15 to 20 hours. First
15 to 20?
playthrough.
That's
Yeah.
not too bad.
Yeah, not
That's
bad. yeah.
doable.
Definitely
If it was like
doable.
another 80-hour game or like
For
40-hour
sure.
game, forget it.
I definitely
that crap anymore.
I enjoyed our first few minutes playing there. Like the fact that you could, you know, the chain wasn't just like a visual asset. Like it actually had physics in
Yes,
the world, and it
you
could interact with enemies.
Yeah, you can use it to wrap around the enemies
Yeah.
to sort of hold them for like a
Yeah.
short period of time.
Seems like the game wants you to get
Um,
behind them where you do the most damage, right? While
yeah.
they're chained down.
And then you can use the clothesline mechanic where you just leave the chain out and enemies slam into
Yeah,
it and fly
yeah.
on the other side. So it's got
Very
some
cool.
cool physics that go along with that, right?
So your main character has a ranged attack and a sword that you can
So
switch
far,
between.
yes. There was just the gun or like a close combat sword, yeah.
And then whilst you're managing those attacks, you can send the Legion out to DPS whoever
Yes.
you feel like DPS.
The Legion, once you can bring him into battle, and there's a gauge associated with him, you can send him out to attack, and then once his gauge depletes, you'd have to it'll disappear for a bit while it recharges, or you can bring it back early to try and bump the gauge back up. It'll regenerate by itself, and then send it back out. When you send it out, it just attacks enemies by itself.
Very cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a neat little system, I guess.
It feels
that I haven't
snappy and
really
tight.
seen.
They have
Yeah.
like the perfect dodge system returns from other Platinum titles too, where if you dodge at the right
Oh,
second, it
yes.
gives you a little
Yep.
visual indicator.
Dodge gives you like a little slow mo.
Yeah, opportunity to do a bit of extra damage. Very cool.
Visuals are nice as well.
Yeah.
Like I really like the.
Yeah, I
the
can't
world
believe
they
how
sort
good
of
it looks,
created.
man.
Yeah,
For
on
a
the
Switch title,
yeah.
holy crap.
Nice.
It's got like an almost Borderlands aesthetic, like this cell shaded,
cel-shaded,
heavily
yeah.
cell shaded, but still 3D models. You can tell, you know.
Yeah. No, it's great so far.
Yeah,
It's pretty
it's
cool.
So the world and the tone are definitely endearing. It's a strange,
Yeah.
like Eastern flavored, like take on Western cop drama with interdimensional entities thrown
Yeah.
in for good measure.
Oh
you
yeah, it's
know?
wicked. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
They
cool.
throw a lot of ideas into the pot. I find like
They do,
just,
it's
like
nice,
a ton
yeah.
of stuff, right?
They're not afraid to
Yeah.
experiment, even when it obliges them to do some expository dialogue and stuff like that. But I think that's cool that they're not afraid of that, and
Yeah.
it already handles well, even in the opening level. So I'm very excited to see how it opens up later in the game,
how it
right? Like
unfolds and everything.
you see the you know, all the other people in your squad, they each have a legion associated with
Yep.
them. We saw there, and their 4 legions break away from them, and they're kind of loose
Really
now, right?
quickly,
So I
yeah.
guess the game is going to involve you going and getting
Going and
those
getting
legions
those,
yourself.
yeah,
Yeah, you're going to
that's
get a
it.
guy with a bow and a guy with a giant sword. I'm sure it'll all have different combat
Yeah.
mechanics attached to them, right? So it'll be cool to see how that unfolds. This Pokemon-esque element, right?
Right? Capture them.
Yeah,
Throw
capturing
the
the
chain
legions,
around their
yeah.
neck. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
It's serious, yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's Astral Chain.
Yeah. So we played that for about maybe an hour. I had played maybe an hour or two before that.
Yeah.
So a couple hours in, and then for some reason I really wanted to try Control.
Yeah, Control for sure, man.
I don't know what it is though. Some of those games, like I don't follow them at all during development. Like I don't pay any attention. Then they just spring up out of nowhere and
yeah.
like Control. Just saw it and I was like, oh, fuck, I want to try this.
The reception was fairly positive, I noticed.
Yeah.
More positive than I anticipated, though there
Yeah.
was still some people saying that it's not
That
as good
it's-
as the others
yeah.
are making it out to be. But
Mhm.
we jumped in, and man, like the first thing that blew me away is like the atmosphere. Like,
Yeah.
it felt like you ever watch The Shining?
Yes.
You know how there's like just fucking very little music and like it just
Yeah,
feels
like the
oppressive,
tone
like
is
quiet
kinda-
white
yeah,
rooms.
yeah.
Yeah. But, like that's the vibe that you get, and,
Yeah, it
and
does
there's
send
like
a
this
creepy vibe.
for sure, and the character
Weird.
has this internal dialogue going on constantly, where you're like gleaning little bits about her story and the world from what she's saying to herself. Like she has this voice talking to her in her head.
Yeah.
And I guess the premise is like it starts with this character. What's her name? Jessica? I don't
Jesse?
remember. Yeah.
Was
Jesse.
it Jesse?
She wanders into the Federal Bureau of Control in New York City, which is apparently some government agency that deals with supernatural or interdimensional phenomena. And it turns out like this Federal Bureau of Control, like it's located in a building called the Oldest House, which we learned early on, and the building like kind of extends beyond its physical boundaries, like Hermione's bag and fucking Harry Potter. You know what I mean? Like it stretches into other places and strange dimensions, and there's like pretty much a constant struggle by the staff to like maintain control of the building. And the game starts with the director of this institution shooting himself in the head, and it turns out you're like the new director selected by the building's
like that.
consciousness.
Bam.
Yeah, and you get control of this crazy gun with regenerating bullets. But yeah, like immediately the color palette and like the use of like geometric objects and stuff.
Little drab.
Yeah, man. But I think they were going for that, so it clashes
the tone.
with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you have those moments where it's like an office space from like the 80s. It looks like, or a Soviet era building. But then you go into like a new room and it's all like washed in red, and like bodies are hanging from the ceiling and things are shifting in the geometry and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of contrast.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And we can already tell from just looking at the controls, like there's moves we haven't unlocked yet, like an evade and an air evade that I'm sure we'll get soon. They're listed on the control map for the controller, and the gameplay, like right off the bat, like the shooting felt super tight.
Felt nice.
I enjoyed shooting. Yeah, you get like you get a melee attack on the triangle button that can be used to like. It seems like just destroy any object in the environment, even like concrete pots, like surrounding trees and stuff like that.
Is definitely cool. They definitely put a lot of work into the presentation of that.
We popped a fucking
flying,
the chunks
exploding into
the fire extinguisher. It exploded like a cloud of like white dust, and it was all over the wall.
There's a lot
after.
of impressive visual shit going on.
It was definitely
game.
cool. Yeah, and the voice work and the animation was pretty top notch too. I was also playing recently this week that. Dark Pictures Man of Medan by the Until Dawn developers, Supermassive Games, I believe they're called. And that's a great title, but I feel like this one almost looks better than that. That one's like supposed to be a movie game where you watch a lot of faces and stuff, but this has better animation and like better voice acting.
Yeah, I'm kind of struggling to figure out what I want to continue playing. Like I almost want to play Control.
I kind of do too, to be honest.
Right?
With you.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Over Astral Chain, but they're both good games. I want to play both of them, but I guess just because we just started Control now, I feel like I want to jump straight back into that again.
Yeah, one of us should pick one, and
we should probably go forward with one each.
Of them,
split the workload here.
Yeah, man. But yeah, Control.
Flip a coin.
It feels really, really good to play, even without most of the moves unlocked in the first couple of hours, and like the atmosphere is intriguing and kind of unsettling, very much like the opening hours of The Shining, it feels like to me, or the opening minutes of The Shining.
I dig shit like that, though. That's so cool to me when she walks out of that room in the beginning and everything's red, there's the bodies hanging, it's like, oh, fuck.
Then she hears like a voice in her head. The antagonist is this like force called the Hiss that possesses people. It's really out there. It just makes you want to know what's happening,
Yeah.
So it's cool that they're, they, gameplay-wise, like you can obviously tell, like we mentioned earlier, it's almost based on like Uncharted style.
Yeah,
third-person shooting, right? Yeah.
With
not exactly
hard cover, but
no hard cover system, soft cover. That's right. If you're crouching, if you hit the iron sight, she'll pop up, so you can take a couple of shots. I definitely enjoy playing it. I was just playing that fucking Remnant from the Ashes game, and it feels like day and night. Playing a game like this, obviously, like it being a more Uncharted style shooting experience, and not like a hardcore third-person shooter. There's less of a you're worried about getting hit every second in that game, and this one you can just be like, well, whatever,
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I guess you can, the gameplay is really at the service of the story in a game like this, right?
Yeah,
it's not as much the focus. The story's not told perhaps through it, but rather through like the top-notch voice acting and the character animations and stuff. But
I'm curious to see how this one plays out.
Me too, yeah. Very positive impressions from opening hours of both of these titles, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And in the what's coming up next week?
What's good? I know Gears is coming out September 6th, so that's this week coming out.
There's Greedfall. Yeah.
We're definitely going to be playing that one, right?
Yeah. Borderlands.
Oh boy, the big releases are coming, man. It's scary. We should really get our
we got to get our act together.
In the gear, right? Yeah.
Start hitting these with more dedication.
Yeah. Or else we're going to fall behind real quick by the holidays.
Yep. Well, that's, I guess those are our impressions on Astral Chain and Control, Remedy's Control.
Pre-release, not pre-release.
Post-release.
Preliminary,
first week
early impressions. Yeah.
Although some people already have guides and complete reviews out at this stage.
Some people haven't bought them yet, so.
Some people don't have day jobs, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, pick one up if you either like Japanese anime cops or what would you describe?
Third-person story shooters in the vein of Uncharted, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both incredible games. We'll be back to you with more details on them in the coming weeks.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, and have a great evening.